Darth Vader, the Dark Lord of the Sith, a name that echoes like thunder across the stars, a symbol of fear, of power, of death. But behind the armor, behind the legend, lies a story of agony, because becoming Darth Vader was far worse than you ever imagined. Before the darkness consumed him, he was Anakin Skywalker, a Jedi Knight, a war hero, a man who believed in justice, in love, in hope. He had friends, a future, and a secret family waiting to be born. He believed he could save the galaxy. He believed he could save her. But it was all torn away, not in an instant, but piece by piece, by fear, by manipulation, by choices that couldn't be undone. This isn't just the fall of a man. This is the complete annihilation of a soul. After his fateful duel with Obi-Wan Kenobi, Anakin was left for dead, burning, screaming, alone on the volcanic sands of Mustafar. His legs were severed, his lungs scorched. His body was no longer his own. But death didn't take him. Sidious did. He was dragged back to Coruscant. What followed wasn't healing. It was reconstruction, a forced resurrection into a nightmare. His limbs replaced with crude machinery, his lungs locked in a cage of wires, his skin grafted over by cold, unfeeling armor. Each nerve ending screamed as they sealed him inside. And when he opened his eyes, Anakin Skywalker was gone. Only Vader remained. But the pain didn't end there. The suit was no gift. It was a prison, deliberately designed by the Emperor to torment him. Uncomfortable, inflexible, agonizing. It kept him angry, kept him in pain, kept him loyal. He could no longer move like a Jedi. His strikes were slower, his hands clumsy. The grace of Anakin was replaced by the brute force of a machine. Even his breath wasn't his own. He would never again feel the warmth of the sun, never again touch another soul. His senses dulled, his humanity buried. He didn't live in the suit, he survived in it. Each moment, each breath, a reminder of everything he had lost. Every movement hurt, every breath was agony. The cybernetics were imprecise. His limbs didn't respond as they once did. His fingers twitched unnaturally. His walk was a slow, grinding effort. The warrior who once danced through the battlefield now lumbered like a dying beast. Palpatine had made sure of it. This wasn't just about keeping him alive. It was about control. The suit made him stronger, but also more dependent, more isolated, more broken. And then came the truth. Padme was dead. The very person he had betrayed everything to save, gone. Snatched away by the very darkness he thought would preserve her. "You killed her," Sidious said. And he believed it. The guilt, the horror, the realization that he had destroyed everything he loved with his own hands. There was no going back. Alone in the cold silence of his chamber, he would relive Mustafar again and again. The lava, the betrayal, the moment he saw Padme's heart break. He would hear her voice, faint, gentle, begging him to stop. Then, silence. He would stare into the darkness, hoping to see her face, but only seeing his own reflection in the black glass of his mask. The galaxy knew him only as Vader, not a man, a weapon. He crushed the last remnants of the Jedi, hunted them down, killed his former allies, without mercy. He trained the Inquisitors, twisted Force users, molded into monsters like himself. He shattered early pockets of resistance, extinguishing hope before it could catch fire. His fighting style had changed. The speed was gone. But now he wielded the Force like a hammer. Every strike was unstoppable. Every movement calculated, brutal, final. He became something the Jedi never trained him to be, a force of annihilation. And with every mission, with every kill, Anakin drifted further away, until there was nothing left to drift from. The Emperor had won. He didn't just take Anakin Skywalker's life, He erased it. Vader no longer spoke his name. He no longer had a name. He was the Emperor's hand, his shadow, his instrument of fear. And deep inside, buried beneath layers of armor, rage, and regret, the boy who once dreamed of saving people was now the galaxy's greatest nightmare. For over 2 decades, Darth Vader served the Empire, without question, without mercy, without a soul. He crushed rebellions, silenced dissent. The galaxy feared his breath, but inside that suit, there was only silence, until a boy appeared, a rebel pilot. His name was Luke Skywalker. Luke didn't fight like the others. He fought with purpose, but not hatred. He wanted to win, but not to destroy. He saw something no one else did. He saw his father. And in that moment, something long buried began to rise. Not anger, not fear, but love. Vader watched his son scream in pain, lightning coursing through his body. The same pain he once knew, the same betrayal, the same helplessness. And suddenly, the chains shattered. With the last of his strength, he turned on his master. Not for power, not for revenge, but for redemption. He destroyed the Sith, and in doing so, destroyed the mask that had ruled him for so long. For the first time in 20 years, Anakin Skywalker saw through his own eyes, not as a machine, not as a weapon, but as a father. He had returned, not to save the galaxy, but to save one person, and in that choice, he saved himself. Darth Vader, the galaxy's monster, died that day, but Anakin Skywalker was finally at peace. Darth Vader is more than a villain, more than a mask. He is the very soul of Star Wars, not because of his power, not because of his fear, but because of his humanity. His story is one of family, of love lost and love reclaimed. A tragedy that ends, not in darkness, but in light. Anakin Skywalker's fall was catastrophic, his pain unimaginable, but in the end, he found his way back, because no matter how far someone falls, there is always a path to redemption. There is always a way back to the light.